All right. I'd like to start off by saying Barakatah Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakudash. Welcome to another lesson, live lesson. All right. The name of this one is E Always Tries to Control the Story. And pretty much, I've been meditating for the last couple of hours, pretty much, on the subject. And what just looking in front of you is a video on YouTube, where I found the television. It says television, mind control, and subliminal influences. And this is what these Edomites count on. They count on being able to control the storyline, and being able to manipulate the minds of the people to get them back in line with their agenda, with their program. You have something called the Protocols of the Learned Elders of Zion. And they have in Protocol 16, it says that anything that is unfavorable to them, they will erase from history and only hold on to the things that are favorable unto them, something along those lines. And pretty much you see that's what's happening in the world today. They're trying to control every aspect of everything, because if they don't say it, or if they don't approve it, then it can't be factual. And that's pretty much how these devils operate, and the word devil simply means slanderer. Somebody that slanders or deceives. What you see them doing it right now. People have this. There is a spiritual demon, Satan. There is a spiritual devil, Satan. You have devils and demons and goblins and ghouls, but you also have a counterpart on the planet Earth, which are the Edomites, which happen to be the so-called white people today that come from the seed of Esau, Edom. They're not white, they're red. White was something that they put upon themselves in 1681. You could fact check that. The elder Malcolm brought these facts out, and they did that because white represents purity, and they labeled the so-called Negroes black because black represents the negative. It's negative. It's a negative connotation that goes with it. So there's no black or white people on the planet. Those are just made up labels that they put on nations of people to hide from their true identity. So, in this lesson, I wanted to go into how these devils are always trying to control the story. It's like everything that they do is all about manipulation and deception. Matter of fact, let's look up that word manipulation real quick. Let's manipulation. All right. It says manipulation, the action of manipulating something in a skillful manner. See, I hate when they do that. They use a word in the definition. I hate that. Let's go to manipulate. Handle or control a tool, mechanism, etc., typically in a skillful manner. Control or influence a person or situation cleverly, unfairly, or unscrupulously. And that's pretty much what they're doing. They're influencing the minds of the people by what? By the control that they have, the mind control that they have, whether it be radio, whether it be newspaper, whether it be television, whether it be the internet as the modern era has. All of these things are used for the sole purpose of controlling the storyline, making sure that they tell the story and that people follow their story. And if they don't follow the story line and they don't follow their lies, pretty much what they do is they label you as a hate, they label you as hate speech. They label you as a hate group. They label you as a terrorist. If you don't comply with their agenda, And what we're gonna do is we're gonna go into Revelation 12, and it does make you angry, like the scriptures say. Surely oppression maketh the wise man mad. And it does make you angry that, here it is, you done lied and deceived and cheated and raped and robbed and murdered and pillaged the whole planet. But now you want us to believe everything that you say, when everything that you said has been nothing but a lie. But you want to make us to believe you. You want to make us to bow down to you. But we're not going to bow to you. Through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem El Shai, we're going to keep on pushing forward with this truth, whether you like it or not. So Revelation 12 and 10, it says, "And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, Now is come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our power and the power of his anointed. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our power day and night." And this is the day we're waiting for Yahweh Shai to come back and to put this devil and his madness down once and for all. That's why it says that the accuser of our brethren is cast down. This is why Yahweh Shai said, "I saw Satan as lightning fall from heaven." Satan is not talking about the spiritual demon Satan, because everything in the heavens is perfectly in order. You have the right hand side and you have the left hand side. You have Yahweh Shai and the righteous angels. You have Satan and the wicked angels, and everything is in perfect harmony. That's why Yahweh Shai said, "Let thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven." Everything in the heavens is on point. It's here on the planet that everything is off. And the words devil and Satan also applies to people on the planet Earth, such as the so-called white man, which are known as the biblical Edomites. They are the devil that the Bible speaks of. They are the deceivers. They are the slanderers. The word Satan, or name Satan, means adversary. They are the adversaries because they're adverse to everything that's in the Bible. And these are just straight up factual truths. And because we speak these factual truths, we're labeled as a hate group. We're labeled as terrorists. We're labeled all type of slanderous titles you can find. But this is how everything is gonna culminate. The forces of evil coming against the forces of good. And we represent, physically we represent the forces of good on the earth through the words of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. But Yahweh Bashem Yahushai and the angels, those are the forces of good that have our back. But we are the physical representation on the earth of that. And seeing that we are the physical representation of on earth of that, they don't like that, because they know that we are not going to ride for them. They know that we're not going to back them up. They know that we're not going to sing and dance and do a sambo dance or coon for them or pine for them, or play along with their song and dance. We're not dancing to their tune. And they are upset with that. The Lord said that I have reserved to myself 7,000 men that have not bowed the knee to Baal. And that's the bottom line. All right. So in this lesson, we're going to get into some of that. This is so it says the accuser of thy brethren. And when you look up this word accuser, which we've done many times, let's go to the word accuser, wherever it may be. Accuser, right here. Katagoreo, which is where you get what? Category. And they want to put everything in a category. And guess what category they want to put the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians in? The Israelites. They want to put them in the category of servant, entertainer, singer, dancer, which all falls under entertainment. To make Esau feel comfortable, because they're in a top position, so they have to have slaves. So this is the only position that they have for us, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, which are the Israelites of the Bible. Factually. So that's what they want. They want us to stay in the lane that they put us in. We didn't put ourselves in that lane. We are a royal people. We are royalty. But we're royalty in exile. We're under a regime, or under an empire of people that are the lowest people on the planet. And the Lord did that because we disobeyed him. So he put curses on us. So what these devils are doing is they seeing that we're waking up. So they're trying to put us back in the lane that they created for us. That's why they call us black. They call us African Americans. They call us Puerto Ricans. They call us Latinos. They call us Mexicans. They call us North American Indians. So forth and so on. And this is why every time we speak, we say so-called Negroes, so-called Latinos, so-called Native American Indians, which are the Israelites of their different prospective tribes. So they're trying to keep us in that category. So it says to accuse before a judge, to make an accusation, an extrajudicial accusation. Let's see, categoros, accuser. So they're trying to keep us in that, in that category. And there's a lane that they created for us called entertainment, clowns, buffoons, sambos. That's where Esau feels comfortable. When we're in that state of mind, that state of being a buffoon, a comedian, a rapper, a singer, an entertainer, into the sports arenas, actors, so on and so forth. That's where they want Jake at. And this is why we read here in Proverbs 26:19, so is the man that deceiveth his neighbor and saith, am not I in sport? So this deception they put out, he's saying, am I not in sport? So when you look up this word sport, it's from the Hebrew word shachak, right? To laugh, play, mock. So to them, this is amusing. And let's look up the word amusement. Or let me look up the word amuse, because they're just going to, amusement is going to say, well, to amuse, Let's look up amuse. You know what I want, man. Stop playing. Cause someone to find something funny, entertain. Provide interesting and enjoyable occupation for someone. So to entertain. So all we're here to do is entertain. And through their deception, they have created this entertainment. Let me get this real quick. Let's look up the word entertain. Are you not entertained? Provide someone with amusement or enjoyment. Give attention or consideration to an idea, suggestion, or feeling. So to provide someone with amusement or enjoyment. So to amuse, to entertain, and that's what they want. And they've created that form of amusement. Through, it says to laugh, play, mock, to laugh, usually in contempt or derision. And that's what they have us. They have us in contempt and they have us in derision. So now let's go from there to the book of Judges real quick, and we'll get back to this. Because all of these nations have us in that situation. This is Judges 16:23. This is dealing with Samson, all right, an Israelite from the tribe of Dan, mighty man, putting hell on them Philistines. And he was reduced to what? To their clown. He was reduced to the Philistines' clown. And this is pretty much what we've been reduced to in Esau's sight as clowns. We're pretty much Esau's court jesters. But the Lord has raised us up to rise above that court jester status. Judges 16:23. Then the lords of the Philistines gathered them together to offer a great sacrifice unto Dagon their god. And you better believe that these devils are doing what they're doing and sacrifice to their god, which their god is Satan. They're not going to outwardly come out and say it. Well, how can you prove that? They're not going to outwardly come and say that. You know how we could prove it? By the scriptures. By what the scriptures are saying. And if you believe it, you believe it. If you don't, that's of no consequence to us. It wasn't given to you. So what are we going to do? We're going to do like High Priest Jacob said, we moving on. It says, and to rejoice, for they said, our God had delivered Samson, our enemy, into our hands. And this is why these devils really believe in their heart of hearts that the Most High is with them, because they've done many things to us and the Lord hasn't opened up on them. See, it says here, when thou saw, Psalms 15:18, when thou sawest a thief, then thou consentest with him. Right, because when they saw us getting pillaged and robbed, what did they do? They jumped on the bandwagon on the side of our enemy, when they were supposed to be our brother. It says, and has been partaker with adulterers, and they have been partaker with adulterers. It says, thou givest thy mouth to evil, and thy tongue frameth deceit. So their tongue frames deceit, meaning they carefully and craftily manipulate these lies that they tell. It's just like when you build a house. When you build a house, you have to build it upon a foundation. But after you get the foundation, you have to do something that's called framing, which is a skeleton of the building. So you have to have your beams, you have to have your outer rims and your floor joists or ceiling joists, depending on where you're looking at them from. Subflooring, you have to build your walls. And when you build a wall, that's part of framing. You get your length, you run out how many studs are gonna go out on that. If there's windows or doors in that particular wall, and then what you do, the last thing you do is you put it all together and you nail it together. All right. So that's how they do. That's how they frame mischief or deceit, by their tongue. It says, thou sittest and speakest against thy brother, thou slanderest thine own mother's son. So that's why they're known as the devil, the deceiver, or the slanderers. Because that's what they do. They slander. Let's go to the slander. Dapaya. Blemish, fault. See, they put a blemish or fault or a stain, or try to, which is evil, which is wicked. It's a stumbling block. A slander, which is not true, but they're doing it because they're trying to bring us to ruin. It says, thou sittest and speakest against thy brother, thou slanderest thine own mother's son. These things hast thou done, and I kept silence. Now, why did the Lord keep silence? And why did King David and many other of the prophets say, Lord, how long will you keep silence? He kept silence because we went off. So he had to teach us a lesson first. And now that he used Esau as the whipping stick, as it tells us in Psalms the 17th chapter, now he's going to judge them for the ass whipping that they gave us, because they went overboard with it. Zechariah, the 1st chapter, they went overboard. So now it's time for the Lord to bring sentence and then finally the judgment upon Esau. So it says, these things hast thou done, and I kept silence. Thou thoughtest that I was altogether such an one as thyself. So these devils think that the Most High is on their side. They think that the Most High looks like them, but he does not. Because Apostle Torah always keeps bringing out. He said, why would the Lord put in the scriptures a skin disease called leprosy, which is what so-called white people have? Why would he put that in the scriptures and say that that's unclean, but then send his son Yahushua down with leprosy? That's absolutely retarded. And why would the Most High say that leprosy is a skin disease, which is you're unclean, but then he has leprosy? Do you see how retarded that sounds? The Most High doesn't contradict himself. You see? And just by looking at the people of the planet Earth and observing their abilities, you could see who are the Israelites. You could see that the powers up in heaven, beginning with Yahweh and Yahushai, are men of color, so-called Negroes with afros. Look at the abilities. Who has the top ability on the planet? The so-called Negroes, which are the tribe of Judah, which is the top tribe. Nobody has skills like that. Nobody has superhuman abilities like that, even in our lowest state. Then you have the other tribes, the West Indians, the Haitians, so-called, the so-called Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, Cubans, Native American Indians, Seminole Indians, have superhuman abilities, but they have been toned down because the Lord punished us because we broke his law, statutes, and commandments. So the Lord said, thou thoughtest that I was altogether such a one as thyself. Why? Because they did all these things and the Lord kept silence. But I will reprove thee and set them in order before thine eyes. And we're being set in order before the eyes of Esau. And this is why they resort to slander, because every tactic that they've tried with their spin and deception on trying to change the word of Yahweh B'Shem El Shai has not worked. So they have to resort to slander, and eventually they're going to have to resort to violence. They're getting physical. And that's what they're going to do. That's why I said that they shall persecute, or there'll be a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. You know? Because these devils are always trying to control the storyline. You know, here it is. You want to, if you question us, or if you want to have a interview with us, which we don't do interviews with these devils anyway, they want to control what's being said and what's being asked. But why do they always avoid the message? What is the message? The message is the gospel. And what is the gospel? And what is that message? That you have a book that's called the Bible on the planet Earth that was given by the Heavenly Father to Moses to give to the nation of Israel. A set of a guideline, a set of rules and regulations, instructions on how this people should live. And if they broke that, what they would have to do in order to receive forgiveness is to sacrifice the blood of certain animals, depending on the severity of the transgression. And after that, when the Lord got tired of it and he would not hear it anymore, not accept sacrifices anymore, he had to send his son down, Yahushai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus, to shed his blood to redeem those people to whom the law, statutes, and commandments and that covenant was given to. That's the message, which are Israelites. And these people just happen to be the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. Why are they avoiding that fact? Because they're trying to control the storyline. They don't want that message out because they know that message is the truth. So this is why they resort to slandering, to false witnesses, to painting themselves as being the most persecuted people on the planet when we've been the most persecuted on the planet. We have the greatest Holocaust that ever happened on the planet. Slavery, the conquest of paradise, you know, of this side of the world, which they later called America, beginning from Canada all the way down to South America and everything in between. Nobody wants to address those issues. They want to control the storyline as, well, you guys are a hate group. Are you guys a hate group? Do you hate this? It goes beyond that. What is the message? Why do you keep avoiding the message? And always try to resort to try to make us look bad so that people can disregard the message. These things hast thou done, and I kept silence. Thou thoughtest that I was altogether such an one as thyself. But I will reprove thee and set them in order before thine eyes. And that's what's happening. We're being set in order before their eyes. So what they want to do is they want to slander us. They want to make us look bad. They want to label us as terrorists or whatever the hell they want to label us as, so that they can bring us down and reduce us back to what? To the good little slaves, to the entertainers, to the ones that will make them laugh and feel comfortable about themselves because they know that they're guilty as sin. So going back to Judges 16 and 23, these Philistines were giving praise and honor to their God. So they said, look, they were giving honor to them that they were able to bring down their enemy, Samson. It says, and when the people saw him, they praised their God, for they said, our God had delivered him into our hands, our enemy. It says, and the destroyer of our country, which slew many of us. And it came to pass, when their hearts were merry, that they said, call for Samson, that he may make us sport, that he make us laugh, and, go over there and, and parade around, dance, and, and do your little tricks that you do. Like you have Jake today, comedians, Jakes that dance, do stupid shit just to make Esau feel comfortable. This is what they do. This is what all nations do. And this is where these nations like Jake to be. It says, and they called for Samson out of the prison house, and he made them sport. See, he had to entertain them. And that's what they want us to do. They want us to entertain them. So this is why they put us in categories. They accuse us of being all different types of wicked shit. Then on top of that, they want to look. All that your job is just to entertain us. That's it. You don't do nothing else but entertain us. You be a good old little slave, and I'll give you a treat. And they set him between the pillars. And Samson said unto the lad that held him by the hand, suffer me that I may feel the pillars whereupon the house standeth, that I may lean upon them. Now the house was full of men and women, and all the lords of the Philistines were there, and there were upon the roof about 3,000 men and women. And pretty much, you could say this is like a theater almost. They had a big theater where you had a whole bunch of lords and nobles among the Philistines there, and they made Samson dance before them, or whatever it was that he was doing for sport, entertainment, whether it was bending, whatever. It says that beheld while Samson made sport. See, so while he was entertaining them, this is where the nations want us, because that's all we are to them, is mere entertainment. Now let's go from there to Job chapter 30 and 1. Job chapter 30 and 1. But now they that are younger than I have me in derision. So who are the ones that are younger than us? Esau. Because although Esau is the elder, they're really the younger, because the first people that ever graced the planet Earth were people of color. From a dark brown to a light brown. It wasn't until Cain murdered Abel that the Most High stripped Cain of his pigment. That was the first time that Edomites, or so-called white-looking people, appeared on the earth. Then they were wiped out, and they came back through who? Esau, Edom. And they're trying to get away from these facts. They're trying to get away from every characteristic of Esau fits these devils. And this is why in the book of Revelation it gives the color of the devil as being what? Red. It's not talking about the red devil on a hot sauce bottle. It's talking about a people on the planet Earth that are red, which is Esau, the so-called white man. It says, but now they that are younger than I have me in derision. So they have us now in derision. Didn't it say that the elder shall serve the younger? So that's the same word, shachak. So why is it that they are on top? Because the Lord put him up there. He said he will set up the basis of men. Yep. To laugh, play, mock. To laugh, usually in contempt or derision. And that's what they do. When Esau laughs at Jake's jokes and the buffoonery that they do, it's like, look at this stupid clown. That's all you're good for, entertainment. Matter of fact, go cook me up some food. Serve me. Make me laugh. I'm sad. I'm down and out. Make me laugh. It says to sport, play, to make sport, to jest. And that's all they want, to play, including instrumental music, singing, dancing, to laugh mockingly. And that's what they want. That's where they feel comfortable with Jake. They do not feel comfortable with Jake when Jake takes a stand and finds out that, wait a minute, I'm not a Negro. I'm not a Puerto Rican. I'm not a Cuban. I'm not a Mexican. I'm an Israelite. God is on my side. He is my power. They don't like that. And remember, every time you go back and you go through the history, these nations, every time they gave a testimony, it was never favorable to us. They always say, well, they have diverse laws and they are always against it. They never do this, they never do that. They're just a bunch of troublemakers. Shit, goddamn, just by that alone, you could tell that the Israelites are so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. It's the same shit going on today. Just a different time period, that's all. So let's go back. So let's read it again. It says, but now they that are younger than I have me in derision, whose fathers I would have disdained to have set with the dogs of my flock. These devils are not even worthy to sit with the dogs of the flock. Why? Because they're going to try to have sex with the dogs. They're that fucking depraved. But here it is, these nobodies, these no people, these low lifes have got the upper hand over us. Why is that? Because the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, brought us down for our disobedience. And he had to teach us a lesson. And he had to use his whipping stick, Esau, to do that. The lowest of the low that was cursed during the Garden of Eden, that serpent, which was an actual man. And that curse followed them, followed that spirit. And that spirit was in Cain. And after the destruction, it came back through Esau, Edom. And they are the lowest form of human on the planet. They're lower than any species of life on the planet. But yet, here it is, they got power and control over everything. And this is why they're destroying the whole world. They talk about that the people of color never had any great civilizations. But here it is, you have the control over the whole planet Earth, but you're destroying every goddamn thing. So how wise really are you to destroy the very resources on the planet that you abide on because of your greed? It's unbelievable. Let's go from there to Psalms 137. So this is why they're trying to put everything in a category, as we read in Revelation 12. Because they want to keep us in that entertainment/slave mentality that we may serve them continuously. And they always get to be the ones that dictate what goes on and how it should go. Because they're just the experts at everything. So if you're the expert at everything, how come the earth is all fucked up under your rule? You control everything. Why is everything so fucked up? Can you answer that? Psalms 137:1. By the rivers of Babylon, there we sat down. Yea, we wept when we remembered Zion. We hanged our harps upon the willows in the midst thereof. Because when you're in captivity, it's hard to have a good time. And this is why we as a people pretty much fell asleep. And that's why before waking up to this truth, Jake tries to make the best of a bad situation. Like King David said, until I understood, until I came into the sanctuary of the Lord, then I understood their latter end. It says, for they that carried us away captives required of us a song. All they want us to do is entertain. They just want us to keep them entertained. That's our category in their eyes. But in the Most High's eyes, Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai's eyes, we are royalty. We are the top people on the planet. We are the highest form of people on the planet. And that's just biblical, man. And if you're going to call that hate speech, then you hate the truth. You should be labeled a hate speech. You should be labeled a hate group because you hate the truth. And this is why the Apostle Paul said it might become your enemy because I tell you the truth. The truth hurts, man. Truth is too direct. And these devils are not direct. They're conniving, slimy worms, slimy serpents that constantly deceive. But they make people believe, because they're very good actors, they make people believe that they're on their side, that they have their best interests at hand. But every goddamn time you trust the devil, you get stung. It says, and they that wasted us required of us mirth. Yeah, because they want us to sing and dance for them and make them feel good. After they done kicked us in the ass. After they done took everything away from us. After they done labeled us, not citizens. After they labeled us not having the same rights as they proclaim were to be given to all men. It's all a bunch of bullshit, man. Sing us one of the songs of Zion, Entertain us pretty much. All right, what else I got here? Let's go from there to Habakkuk, the 1st chapter. And we'll start at the 6th verse. It says, for lo, I raise up the Chaldeans. Now the Chaldeans in the ancient world were the wise men, magicians, prognosticators and all that of the ancient Babylonian Empire. Today they represent the wise men among Esau, the so-called wise men, the ones that they consult as far as certain matters are concerned, that can look up into the stars and tell what's going to be, that resort to magic and all of that stuff, that cast spells and do all of those different things, these different witches and warlocks, the top witches and warlocks of Esau's society. These will be considered the modern day Chaldeans, that bitter and hasty nation, which shall march through the breadth of the land to possess the dwelling places that are not theirs. And this is what they've done. They've taken away the lands that do not belong to them. And even now as we speak, I was going to bring this out in another lesson, but I'm just going to mention it here. This is called redlining and gentrification because the Spirit had me type this down, and I didn't know that there was an actual site that actually was named this. Redlining and gentrification. I'm not sure if I typed in gentrification and redlining or redlining and gentrification. This is one of the sites that came up. Now, if you know about redlining was something that Esau did to rob Jake, of being able to get ahead, so to speak. So what they would do is any neighborhood that they didn't want, they allowed Jake to stay there. Esau would flee from it, and they would label this a hazardous or toxic environment that you didn't want. And that's why they had it. They had the green, which was the most desired, the blue, which was the next desired. The yellow was in deterioration. You don't really want to mess with that, but you can still mess with it for a little bit, but you eventually want to get to the green or the blue. And then you had the red, which was hazardous because it housed the people that they considered to be inferior. All right. So now and today, this is going back to the 20s and 30s and 40s, I believe it is. But now today, these same neighborhoods that were redlined, that were undesirable, which are being built back up now they're turning it to what? Purple, which is the new green. The most desirable places now. This is why they're moving Jake out of these neighborhoods that they didn't want at one time, because these neighborhoods are being built back up. And this is why them Amalekites out there in Jersey trying to get them Jakes out of that neighborhood that was pretty much redlined. Now all of a sudden it's in the top demand. It's in top demands, and that's why they're moving Jake out. Gentrification. So now the same red-lined areas are now becoming purple, which is, like I said, is the new green. And they're trying to move Jake out of there. That's why it says, in fact, 87% of today's gentrifying areas were rated as hazardous. So if you notice, all of the purple, which is the new The new desired places is covering mostly where all the red lining areas were. And there's a video on it. I wanted to do something on it. This is just in San Francisco. This is going on throughout all the United States. They use this redlining technique across all the United States, but now they're using a different color. All right. So going back, it says, they are terrible and dreadful. Their judgments and their dignity shall proceed of themselves. Their horses also are swifter than the leopards and are more fierce than the evening wolves. Because when eventually their military and these different police forces, riot police, FEMA troops and all that, they're going to come through vicious during the time of Jacob's trouble. It says, and their horsemen shall spread themselves, and their horsemen shall come from far. They shall fly as an eagle that hastens to eat. And don't say it can't happen, because what happened during the 60s when we had these different riots? Didn't they send the National Guards or the reserves? I forget if it was the National Guards or the reserves. Didn't they send them in there? So don't be surprised that they send tanks and all of that, different military tactical weapons vehicles. They've done it in LA when they rammed. They had that one vehicle that they rammed people's houses in. So don't think that they won't do it. It's coming. It says they shall come all for violence. Their faces shall sup as the east wind, and they shall gather their captivity as the sand. Because they're coming to put things back the way they used to be. This is why you have that devil Trump, talking about make America great again. In other words, make America so-called white again. And put Jake back in their place, because they're getting a little too uppity. The natives are restless. Because Judah is the biggest threat. And then you have Ephraim. And they know when Judah and Ephraim get back together, that's it. It's over. And you see in the beginning stages of that. It's been going on for about 50 years, 51 years. But really, technically, it's been going on for, let's say, about 30 years, 35 years. Because the influx didn't really start happening until maybe because you had some so-called Latin tribes that were in the school back then, but not very many. And then in the 90s, they started getting, more. But especially during the time of the YouTube era, beginning in 2006, 2007, really about 2007, that's when really more of the influx of the Northern Kingdom started coming in. And they know that this is a problem. And this is why now they're labeling so-called Negroes, men with beards, which are the tribe of Judah, as terrorists. And then you have the situation where you have that one so-called Latin tribe dude with the beard, something that he had did, they labeling him as a terrorist or something along those lines. So it's just a smear campaign against the truth, pretty much. It says, and they shall scoff at the kings, see, and the princes shall be a scorn unto them, because here it is, we're kings and princes, that are in captivity, that are in exile. But what do? They scoff. And it's the same word for sport. Because that's all that we are to these devils. It's nothing but a sport. Let's go to the book of Deuteronomy 28. And this is why Esau has to control the storyline. And this is why he keeps doing what he does. Because he has to control the storyline. He cannot allow anybody else to tell the story. And this has been part of the greatest deception on the planet. And this is what the devil did, which were the Edomites, when they finished their prison sentence. The very first thing they did was what? Deceive. Because that was going to be their power. The deception throughout the planet Earth, to set themselves up as if they were the Most High, as if they were Yahushua and the angels and the people of the Lord, the Israelites, so that the world can bow to them. But the Most High threw a monkey wrench in there. Deuteronomy 28:37, and thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations, whither the Lord shall lead thee. And this is why we're in that condition. This is why we're called niggas, spooks, spics, wetbacks, tontos, beaners, every name under the sun you could think of. Because we've been brought down to the lowest place on the planet. We went from being number 1 to being number 0. We're in the negative, man. But now the Lord is building us back up through his word. All right, so going back to Habakkuk, it says, they shall deride every stronghold, for they shall heap dust and take it. So they've scoffed at the kings. You know, this is why when you go during the time of, even before slavery, when you had Gad, when they took Gad down, you know, what did you have? You had those different, I forget what they're called, them re-education, whatever that was, you know, where they re-educated Gad and they dressed him up like the white men. They forbid them to speak their own language and made them to speak English only. Made them forget about their customs, you know. And then with Judah, what did they do? They wouldn't allow them to read. They wouldn't allow them to write. They would punish you if you learned how to read. They would punish you if you learned how to write. They would put you to death if you read the Bible. And what did they do after that? They would mock Jake. Call him stupid, you know, call him uneducated, you know, call him a buffoon. Yeah, but why? Well, because he can't read, he can't write, he could barely speak. Yeah, but you made it against the law for him to read or write or learn any of those things. And then you made mockery of them. Here it is, you had the power to teach, but you didn't teach them. You banned them from learning. Then you made mockery of them because they were unlearned. You devils got a lot to pay for, man. It says, then shall his mind change, and he shall pass over and offend, imputing this his power unto his God. So they're imputing the power that they had to take us down unto their God. They're sacrificing to their God, just like we read about Samson and Dagon. You know how the Philistines did that. And this is going on throughout all the nations. This ain't just dealing with Esau. This was dealing with all the nations. But today, Esau is the top. Esau is at the top right now. There was another precept that came to mind. Yes, Barakateh Bashim Al Shai. This is the book of Lamentations, chapter 2. All nations had a hand in this. Lamentations 2:15. All that passed by clapped their hands at thee. They hissed and wagged their head at the daughter of Jerusalem, saying, is this the city that men call the perfection of beauty, the joy of the whole earth? Why? Because now we're at the bottom, and they can't believe how the Lord took us down from that great state. All thine enemies have opened their mouth against thee. They hiss and gnash their teeth. They say, we have swallowed her up. Certainly this is the day that we look for. We have found, we have seen it. So they accomplished the mission, not because they were stronger and mightier than us, but because the Lord took our power from us and let us fall. And when you read Psalms, the 83rd chapter, it gives you all of the enemies of Israel, all of our enemies. And what was one of the main things that they did? That the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. Now, what does that mean? Does that mean that you would not know or hear of the name Israel anymore? No, because you still hear about Israel. But when you think about Israel, you think about the Amalekites that claim to be Israelites. You never equate the Israelites of the Bible with being the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. Because why? They were successful in wiping that and erasing that from our memory. And this is why you had the re-education camps and they didn't allow Jake to learn or read the Bible, especially the Bible. Gave Judah the fucking slave Bible. You know? So going back, Habakkuk 1:12, art thou not from everlasting, O Lord, my power, mine holy one? We shall not die, O Lord, Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. And this is why yesterday we did the lesson. No, don't worry, the Lord will avenge us. This is what we're waiting for Yahweh Bashem Yahushua to deliver us. Thou hast ordained them for judgment, because they were set up to be judged. The Lord had made all things, yea, even the wicked, for the day of wrath. They were created, they're the vessels of wrath fitted for destruction. They were tailor-made for that. And almighty power, thou hast established them for correction. And they corrected us, but this was the Lord's hand upon us. And they went overboard with it. Thou art of purer eyes and to behold evil, and canst not look upon iniquity. And this whole world look on iniquity. This whole world is steeped in iniquity. Does it not say that the whole world lieth in wickedness? And Yahushua, they hated him. Why? Because he spoke about against the world, that the deeds thereof were evil. And this is why they're bringing on that persecution, those accusations, the accuser of our brethren. Why? Because he wants to keep us in the lane that he created for us. The lane of the court jester, the lane of the entertainer, the lane of the jumping up, slam dunking, 360 degrees slam dunking, you know, sing and dance with him. That's where they feel comfortable with Jake. It says, wherefore lookest thou upon them that deal treacherously, and holdest thy tongue when the wicked devoureth the man that is more righteous than he? Damn. It says, and makest men as the fishes of the sea. Yeah, because what do? They scatter everything and scatter everybody as the creeping things that have no rule over them. But the Most High Yahweh Bashem Yahushua is our ruler. He's our power. He's our king. Let's go from there to Isaiah chapter 10 and verse 20. It says, and it shall come to pass in that day that the remnant of Israel, meaning what? The elect, and such as are escaped of the house of Jacob, the elect, shall no more again stay upon him that smote them, Esau, but shall stay upon the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, the Holy One of Israel, in what? In truth. And this is why this truth is so threatening to Esau, because it's making him lose his grip and his power, and giving the power back to the rightful owner, which is Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. So going back, verse 15, they take up all of them the angle, they catch them in their net, and gather them in their drag. Therefore they rejoice and are glad. Why? Because the traps that they've set up out here for Jake have taken a lot of these Jakes, and they rejoice in that. But they still can't figure out why they can't get all of Israel in that trap, because they don't count on the Most High. See, the Most High is not in their thoughts. They don't have any fear of the Lord. They think that everything that's here it can be explained logically, tangibly. They're not a spiritual people. Or should I say, they are spiritual, but on the left-hand side. But when it comes to righteousness, they have not a spiritual bone in them. It says, therefore they sacrifice unto their net, and burn incense unto their drag, because by them their portion is fat, and their meat plenteous. And the Most High gave these devils the power of the sword, and by that power of the sword they have done what? They've taken over the whole planet. This is how they became rich. So because they are the Lord's now, they want everybody else to be what? The peasants, the slaves, especially the Israelites, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians. And this is why the word accuser in Revelation 12 is category. They created a lane for us, and they want us to stay in that lane. But the Lord broke the spell. This is why the scriptures say that the Lord will pull the veil back that was spread over all nations. And the word of the Lord of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, the truth, has broken that spell, and has set us mentally free from the chains of mental captivity. You know? So this is why it's a threat to them. Shall they therefore empty their net and not spare continually to slay the nation? So they won't stop because they could never have enough. Especially when they're thinking that they are the Most High, that because they've continued on and ruled and done all this wickedness without impunity. You know? And now the Most High is going to deal with them. That's what the Lord said, that, you know, that the Lord shall not acquit the wicked. He's not going to acquit them. Now I got like a couple more scriptures and then we could close the lesson out. Revelation 17:6. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints. The woman is America. The saints are the Israelites. And with the blood of the martyrs of Yahushai. And when I saw her, I wondered with great admiration. So he wondered at this woman, this beautiful woman that he saw. He was just like in amazement, like in awe of her. And the angel said unto me, wherefore didst thou marvel? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carrieth her, which hath the 7 heads and 10 horns. The beast that thou sawest was and is not, which is America, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit, which is Europe, and go into perdition. Because when from the inception of America, America was set up to be destroyed. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder. Meaning what? They're going to be taken by her attempts. Because remember, America is considered a harlot. Right here, it talks about her as a harlot. And a harlot can speak sweetly with her mouth to lure men in to her trap. Ecclesiastes 9:8. Turn away thine eye from a beautiful woman. This is talking about an actual woman, but you could apply this spiritually to the knowledge of wickedness on the left-hand side, to that strange woman. And look not upon another's beauty, for many have been deceived by the beauty of a woman. For herewith love is kindled as a fire. And this is why it said that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. And as you see, the angel kind of snapped at the Apostle John, because he marveled at this woman with great amazement and with great admiration. So the angel said, look, what you wondering about this? I'm going to tell you the mystery of this whole. This is Proverbs 7:19. For the good man is not at home. He is gone a long journey. So this is Esau with his magic and his spells and his enchantments, trying to, push his demonic agenda on Jake. He have taken a bag of money with him and will come home at the day appointed. With her much fair speech, she caused him to what? To yield. With the flattering of her lips, she forced him. And this is, even though this is dealing with wickedness, with the knowledge of wickedness, you could apply this to an actual woman, and you could apply this, but this really applies to the strange woman, which is the knowledge of wickedness. And this is what America has done. She has used her sorceries to enchant the planet. And she had the planet enchanted. She had the planet captivated until the truth came out and broke away the elect of the nation of Israel away from her grip. You see? It says, so going back, it says, the beast that thou sawest was and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit and go into perdition, meaning into destruction. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they behold the beast that was and is not and yet is. Because through America, a lot of people are going to be deceived. A lot of Israelites are going to be deceived, and a lot of Israelites will be destroyed because they're going to be taken by these attempts. And this is why the scriptures speak about the strange woman which flattereth with her lips, dealing with these different philosophies. And that's why the scriptures say that these men were virgins. Matter of fact, let me get that. We could end with that. Job, I'm sorry, not Job. Revelation is at 15. Nope, it's 14. Revelation 14:1. And I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on the Mount Zion, and with him 144,000, having his father's name written in their foreheads. And I heard a voice from heaven, as the voice of many waters, and as the voice of a great thunder. And I heard the voice of harpers harping with their harps. And they sung as it were a new song before the throne, and before the four beasts, and the elders, and no man could learn that song but the 144,000, which were redeemed, bought back from the earth. These are they which were not defiled with women. What women is it talking about? It's talking about these philosophies, the philosophies of the harlot, America, Babylon the Great. For they are virgins, meaning what? They are untouched by those philosophies. These are they which follow the Lamb whithersoever he goeth. These were redeemed from among men, being the first fruits unto the Most High and to the Lamb. And in their mouth was found no guile, for they are without fault before the throne of the Most High. So this is what this devil is afraid of. The elect, beginning with the 144,000. So they're in trouble. And this is why he always tries to control the story, because he's hoping that by his control of the story or the storyline, he can cause everyone to fall into his trap. But he forgot about the elect. He forgot about Yahweh Bashem Shai and the elect. So with that, I pray that you brothers have been edified. And till the next time I say, Shalom. Ecclesiastes 9:8. Turn away thine eye from a beautiful woman. This is talking about the actual woman, but you could apply this spiritually to the knowledge of wickedness on the left-hand side, to that strange woman. And look not upon another's beauty, for many have been deceived by the beauty of a woman. For herewith love is kindled as a fire. And this is why